Hello, my name is Asia Law White, and I'm a part of the freshman summer program here at the University of Kentucky. Welcome to my podcast. I have a question from our viewers. Have you ever been to a place where you so happen to seen a historical statue? Well, I know a lot of you have walked through Patterson Plaza, which is located on the north part of campus. I know majority of you most likely stumbled across the statue of an elderly man. A lot of you are very curious about this 1,800-pound statue. I will tell you about a time when I made eye contact with this historical figure that goes by the name of President James K. Patterson. As I approached this bronze sculpture, I observed a man sitting on a mahogany wooden chair with one foot on the step and the other dangling off the platform. He has on these leather shoes with deep creases. His hands are consisted of papers on the right, and on the left his fists balled up with a cane. He is sitting with a crutch under his armpit. He's wearing an academic dress that is halfway zipping up with a button-up blouse. Around his neck is a tight bow. His face is consisted of wrinkles and a thick beard. His head has a slight receding hairline. The statue feels very slick and slippery. It has a dark bronze color, but the sculpture looks so realistic, like if it can come back into life. Questions running through your mind like, what is so significant about this individual? Better yet, how did he contribute to this university? Why did they create a statue for this individual? College students are very oblivious of historical statues on campuses. So I'm going to be very inquisitive of finding out President James K. Patterson pivotal role he once played at the University of Kentucky, and this will hopefully educate our college students.
I will be interviewing a former student here at the University of Kentucky. Her name is Ashley Darrell. She's a freshman here and she'll be telling me about her knowledge about the bronze sculpture. Hey Ashley, how are you?
I'm fine, Asia. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know you're a former student here at the University of Kentucky. Have you ever been through the Patterson Plaza and saw a huge statue? What do you think about the statue?
Well, at first, when I saw the statue, I just thought it was just an 8 foot tall statue, just for a person who contributed to the University of Kentucky. But once I figured out that it was the president, like one of the presidents of the University of Kentucky, I realized he had a significant role he played for the university itself.
What do you know about President James K. Patterson?
Well, since I'm a freshman, I do not know much. I just know that he was once the president and he helped regulate things around the University of Kentucky. So I think that's what makes him significant to the campus, and that's why he has a memorial built for him.
Do you know any campus traditions?
Well, I know that when students need to take exams, they rub his foot for good luck, and usually they after rubbing their foot, they usually pass.
Do you think campus traditions are ridiculous ideas?
Well, I think that although they may seem ridiculous, but most traditions are ridiculous anyway. So if you feel like that tradition helps you in a sense, then I feel like it's not ridiculous at all.
Why do you think it's important for college students to know their campus history?
I feel like once you know your campus history, you know the importance of it because it helps you as a student, and then if you know all the roles and all the stuff that been contribute to your university, you will progress yourself in a way that you could be successful.
Okay, I appreciate you for joining me today and answering my questions.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Let's recap all of the wonderful questions Ashley answered for us. Although she did answer the question, she knew little knowledge of President James K. Patterson, surprisingly. I wasn't expecting that from a freshman as their first year here. And she even took initiative to stop and acknowledge the bronze sculpture. Throughout my podcast, I will uncover the history of President Patterson and the reputation he created for himself. Here's an archive of the sculpture of President James K. Patterson. I made an inference that this is a photograph was taken a century ago by the monochrome quality and the characteristics of his supporters gathered around him. In this moment, he's being introduced to the public as form of dedication. This photograph speaks a substantial amount of value in so many aspects, such as The supporters that attended this ceremony really admire President James K. Patterson's work ethic and the transformations he's done for this campus. President Patterson dealt with the university's finances, which he attempted to rely on Kentucky General Assemblies, but that later failed. He took it upon himself to start fundraising to save the campus. Any decision that you make can affect the future morally. I can make an inference that he made the institution have a stronger and more firmer one, which will eventually pay off in assisting the next upcoming generation. So we can conclude that that was a part of his agenda. Whenever you observe a sculpture, of course you examine the fundamentals of it. At some point, the beholder searches beyond the observations. Look more precise at what the sculpturist is trying to express through the sculpture. According to the history of sculptures, it states, one dominant figure in the world of sculpture, Henry Moore, between 1898 to 1986, used traditional materials like wood, bronze, and stone. In exploring traditional problems of sculpture, such as the seated figure and the reclining figure, he believed that the space shapes created by sculpture are as important to its designs as the solid forms, and he often put holes or openings in the sculptures. Moore also contrasted light and dark by curving his bronze figures inward and outward. The distinctive features of the sculpture gives us an idea of what the sculpturist is trying to tell us. The metal template that is placed below President James K. Patterson, which says, he saved the seed for the next generation. As you glance up, you'll notice President Patterson staring down at you diagonally. It seems he's looking straight into your eyes. There's some connection between President Patterson's eyes and the template, because if you're standing right in front of the statue and catch his eyes staring straight forward at you, you'll think he's talking to the beholders, which is like, you're the future. I feel like this gives us a better comprehension of this individual and his philosophy here at the University of Kentucky. I will be interviewing another student named Isaiah Queens. He as well is part of the freshman summer program here at the University of Kentucky. He will be telling us his knowledge of historical sites around campus. Hey, Isaiah.
Hello.
How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Have you ever encountered a historical site on campus?
Yes, two actually. One is this cat statue, and it is in front of the Coliseum. And, to me, it's kind of iconic because the University of Kentucky, Wildcats, that's their staple. And see that in front of the Coliseum, kind of in the heart of the campus. It's pretty cool. And the other place that I saw was the statue of an elderly man, I believe called Patterson. And he is by the Whitehall building. And that's about all I know on that man.
How about I take you to a place where you may see one?
Mm-hmm.
Look, here it is.
Oh,
surprise!
Sweet. What do you know? It is him.
Do you feel like this man is very important?
You know what? I think I do. If they made a statue honoring him in some sort of way, obviously this man has had to make some sort of impact on not only the students here, but, the faculty as well and directors that work so hard for this campus. He probably has made so many sacrifices for them to have had a statue in it built in his honor.
Do you have any knowledge about this historical figure?
Personally, I do not, but I have heard stories about him. For instance, my friend Erica, who is currently a sophomore at the University of Kentucky, she tells me about this statue from time to time and that there's a myth or an urban legend about it. And this myth is that if you rub the statue's foot before an exam, then when you do take the exam, you'll pass with flying colors. Now, I have yet to test this myth to see if it's true or not, but in the future, I definitely will give it a shot to see if I can ace my exams.
Do you think he made a difference here at the University of Kentucky?
I do. Like I said, if he had the statue built for him, he must have made such a sacrifice. And judging by how he looks, he kind of looks like, a wise man. So maybe his knowledge he was able to give back to us And so we had to do this for him.
Okay, let me walk you towards the statue.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to look up.
Look at him.
And examine him and look down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a metal template that said he saved the seed for the next generation. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think about that?
To me, that means that he did something in his past that allowed for us to have a better future. His sacrifices and his achievements and his hard work that he put in back then allowed us now to have such a bright and beautiful future. And maybe something to think about, maybe that if he didn't do those sacrifices and whatnot, we would not have nearly as much of what we have today, you know?
Well, that's all the time that we have. Thanks for joining me today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me.
I listened to an interview of a woman named Miss Gaylord. She explained to us of her trials and tribulations at the University of Kentucky during the 1950s. In 1954, University of Kentucky decided to integrate their campus to African Americans. Miss Gaylord talks about the integration at public facilities surrounding the campus in the late 1950s. Before that, University of Kentucky was not supportive of the civil rights movement. The campus itself was a predominant white campus until 1954. Even though the campus allowed integration, a lot of people weren't willing to make that change. Ms. Gaylord speaks out about her experience at the university during that decade. She explains to us about her peers discriminating her, and even the professor did as well. She went on about her major and how she was interested in the medical field. She even took up prerequisite classes for pre-med, and one of her professors would often say during her classes, there's a lot of white students and only 2 black students here today. When you were in a class like that, you were being judged based off your complexion instead of your work ethic. So because of your race, you will automatically receive a low grade. During the early 1900s, University of Kentucky's first president did not witness the integration at the campus, or perhaps he probably did not allow it. So I've come to the conclusion that he probably didn't enable diversity during that time period. He still impacted others in a tremendous way by simply taking the responsibilities of helping achieve the route of higher education. I know if he was still alive, he would be happy to witness the integration here at the University of Kentucky. Campus history is very important for college students for their advantage. Educating yourself about your institution is a great route to take. So you'll be familiar to the place you eventually call home. As you discover more history about the institution, I guarantee you will be very fascinated of the information you will find. I encourage college students to prevent being so oblivious of their surroundings, yet take things out of context and interpret your perspectives of the historical markers located on campus. It's very important for college students to know the hidden truth about their campus. So get away from anything that's distracting you and invest your time into something productive like knowing the history of your institution.